All right, folks. Today we're diving into a journey through time, exploring the fascinating tapestry of ancient civilizations, from Egypt to Mesopotamia and even China. I mean, it's like stepping into a grand historical novel where each chapter reveals monumental shifts in culture, power, and identity. So, where do we begin? Let's start with Egypt, right? Imagine a narrow strip of lush greenery along the Nile, surrounded by deserts and rugged mountains. Such a unique environment. The Nile was like the lifeblood of Egypt. Can you just picture the pharaohs, like Menes, who unified Upper and Lower Egypt? It's astounding.
Yeah. I mean, it just blows my mind how, one pharaoh could unify such a vast area. Were there, other tribes or cultures involved in that process? I mean, did they have to fight a lot? Or was it more like some kind of negotiation, Times leans in, curious.
Great question. It was actually a bit of both. The unification wasn't just a smooth sailing negotiation. There were certainly skirmishes and power struggles. But what's really interesting is how the blend of African tribes contributed to this burgeoning Egyptian identity. It was like a melting pot of cultures. They came together, sharing practices, beliefs, and traditions. It's kind of like how different cultures influence a city today, like New York City. Think about it. Every neighborhood has its own flavor, right?
Oh wow, totally. Like how you can go from Little Italy to Chinatown in just a few blocks. So once they unified, were they just building crazy pyramids right away? Or did it take some time for them to get that extravagant?
Haha, absolutely, it took some time. They didn't just jump into pyramid building. The early dynasties saw a gradual development in power structures and gurkwan, a desire to leave a lasting legacy. The first and second dynasties, which lasted from 3100 to 2686 BC, laid the groundwork. These kings controlled labor and agriculture, and they aimed to project their power through monumental graves. They believed in the afterlife, so they wanted to honor themselves posthumously.
Whoa, wait, they were, into tombs because of this afterlife thing? That sounds kind of spooky, but also super fascinating. It's like they wanted to ensure they had a badass resting place. Asterisk laughs. But did everyone build tombs? Or just the pharaohs?
Exactly. Only the pharaohs and high-ranking officials could afford such grand tombs. Picture the Great Pyramid of Giza, for instance. It holds the remains of Pharaoh Khufu, and it showcases their wealth, power, and advanced engineering. It's incredible! And let's not forget that pyramid building was also a demonstration of centralized authority, we can mobilize thousands of workers for a common goal.
Oh man, I can't even imagine coordinating all those people. Pime wonders aloud. How did they keep everything organized? Did they have, project managers or something? That's insane.
Chuckles. In a way, yes. They had a well-structured bureaucracy. They appointed overseers and bureaucrats who managed the labor force and resources. Think of it as an ancient version of project management, but with larger stakes. If things went wrong, it could affect the entire kingdom.
Wow, that's kind of like modern-day construction projects. If something goes awry, it can get super messy. So after all the pyramids and everything, what happened during the Second Intermediate Period? Things must have gotten wild, huh?
You've hit on a pivotal time. The Second Intermediate Period was marked by local nobles seizing power. Picture this. As the centralized government weakened, everyone was vying for control, akin to a scene from a royal drama where factions are in constant power struggle. This fragmentation led to what we call the First Transitional Period, which eventually paved the way for the revival during the Middle Kingdom.
Oh wow. Dynasties falling apart and then trying to get it back together? It sounds like one of those wild historical soap operas. I gotta know, what happened during the Middle Kingdom that helped stabilize things?
You've got it. The Middle Kingdom, starting around 2010 BC, was a renaissance of sorts following that chaos. Pharaohs focused on rebuilding and agricultural expansion. They emphasized military campaigns to regain lost territories and fortifications against external threats. Picture them like determined sports teams coming back from a losing season, prepared and focused to reclaim their glory.
Laughs. I can totally see that. So they were, like, strategizing and training to dominate again? That's kinda inspiring. But I guess all good things have to come to an end, right? What led to their decline?
Size. Ah yes, the tragic downturn. By the time of the New Kingdom's end, there was a combination of internal corruption and relentless external invasions, most notably from the Assyrians. This destabilization is like a once prosperous city grappling with crime and economic collapse. That's when Egypt started sliding down the power scale, entering the third transitional period, where they were conquered by foreign rulers.
Ugh, that's rough. So, like, they had to deal with an outsider ruling over their lands? Just when they thought they were back on track. Pauses. But history turned, right? They eventually re-established their identity?
Right. The resilience of Egyptian culture shone through. They began to adapt and integrate aspects of their conquerors while still preserving their identity. And that brings us to the larger narrative of ancient civilizations. Like in Mesopotamia and China, each area crafted its own unique story, shaped by internal dynamics and external influences.
Leans in. Excited. Ooh, Mesopotamia. I've always thought that was like the cradle of civilization or something. Can you break that down? What made it so significant?
Absolutely. Mesopotamia, ensconced between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, was like the epicenter for early civilizations. This fertile land attracted the Sumerians, who were pioneers in agriculture. Think of them as the original innovators. They established urban centers, and with those came complex societies, trade routes, and writing systems. How fascinating is that?
Wow. It's like watching a tech boom but in agriculture. Pondering. So, they were dealing with a lot of competition. That must have led to some epic battles for resources.
You bet. Rival states emerged constantly in a power struggle, like a game of chess where strategies evolved and, at times, backfired spectacularly. The Babylonians and Assyrians were key players, known for establishing powerful empires through warfare and diplomacy. It's astounding how their legacies influenced trade, culture, and governance across the region.
That's just, wow, times takes a breath. And I guess once Rome came into the picture, everything just exploded, huh? Like a whole new level of global interaction.
Exactly. With the Romans, the Mediterranean world truly evolved. As they expanded their influence, cultural exchanges flourished. Different ideas, art, and governance practices spread across civilizations. It was a rich tapestry of interaction that redefined the landscape of that era.
I mean, it's kind of like globalization today, right? We're all blending ideas and cultures, which can lead to a lot of innovation, but also some tension.
Perfect analogy. Each civilization's narrative contributed to the broad framework of what we understand today about human culture and governance. As we explore the emergence of dynasties in China along the Yellow and Yangtze rivers, we see similar patterns of rise, fall, and cultural evolution, culminating with their unification under the Qin dynasty.
Wow, it's just incredible how all these different threads are woven together throughout history. Raises a finger. So in a nutshell, it's like these ancient civilizations shaped the foundation of everything we know today. Crazy to think about it, isn't it?
Nods enthusiastically. Exactly. Each narrative, each civilization left its imprint, guiding the trajectory of human culture, governance, and social structure. It's a captivating saga that informs our present and shapes our future.
Man, I feel like my mind just exploded with knowledge. Smiling widely. Thanks for this journey through history. I can't wait to dive deeper.